Learn to speak better with a professional teacher today. Your discount link is in the description. Canadian immigration. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced that Canada is tightening up its immigration policies, addressing public concerns over the system. Define tighten up. Relax. Make strict. Tighten up means make strict. In a recent video, Trudeau admitted that previous policies allowed bad actors to exploit immigrants, promising jobs, education, and citizenship that never came about. Define come about. Happen. Go to a place. Come about means happen. To crack down on these issues, the government plans to limit both permanent and temporary residence over the next 3 years. Define crack down on. Enforce strict control. Encourage. Crack down on means enforce strict control. This move comes as Trudeau's administration faces criticism and lags behind the Conservative Party in polls ahead of next year's election. Define lag behind. Fall in progress. Support. Lag behind means fall in progress. Trudeau highlighted how some fake schools and corporations have taken advantage of post-pandemic labor shortages, using international students for profit rather than providing genuine opportunities. These practices have strained housing and public services in cities like Toronto and Vancouver. Define take advantage of. Provide opportunities. Exploit for benefit. Take advantage of means exploit for benefit. The new policy aims to balance out the number of immigrants with Canada's resources in order to provide adequate housing and healthcare, ensuring better support for both newcomers and existing residents. Define balance out. Make equal. Completely remove. Balance out means make equal. Initial impacts of the policy are already visible, with a reduction in international students bringing down rental costs in major cities. Define bring down. Reduce. Stop completely. Bring down means reduce. Trudeau stressed that while immigration remains crucial for economic growth and labor shortages, these adjustments will help pave the way for a more sustainable system. Define pave the way. Block future progress. Prepare future progress. Pave the way means prepare future progress. Listen and practice. It's time to read the full story. Canadian immigration. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced that Canada is tightening up its immigration policies, addressing public concerns over the system. In a recent video, Trudeau admitted that previous policies allowed bad actors to exploit immigrants, promising jobs, education, and citizenship that never came about. To crack down on these issues, the government plans to limit both permanent and temporary residents over the next 3 years. This move comes as Trudeau's administration faces criticism and lags behind the Conservative Party in polls ahead of next year's election. Trudeau highlighted how some fake schools and corporations have taken advantage of post-pandemic labor shortages, using international students for profit rather than providing genuine opportunities. These practices have strained housing and public services in cities like Toronto and Vancouver. The new policy aims to balance out the number of immigrants with Canada's resources in order to provide adequate housing and healthcare, ensuring better support for both newcomers and existing residents. Initial impacts of the policy are already visible, with a reduction in international students bringing down rental costs in major cities. Trudeau stressed that while immigration remains crucial for economic growth and labor shortages, these adjustments will help pave the way for a more sustainable system. Examples: tighten up. The company decided to tighten up its security measures after the data breach. The school is tightening up its attendance policy to improve discipline.
And so what kinds of changes? Did they tighten up the rules for who could sell mortgages or who could do appraisals?
No, they didn't. They didn't tighten it up. It was basically a matter of disclosure.
But you are absolutely right that there are still places where they need to tighten up, and we continue to indicate to them the importance of tightening those up. You may have noted that China continues to object to the THAAD deployment in the Republic of Korea.
Come about. How did this situation come about? The changes came about because of new government policies.
From the words of Confederate leaders, the reason for the war could not have been clearer. It was slavery. So how did this revisionist history come about? The answer lies in the lost cause, a cultural myth about the Confederacy.
So this person showed this to Darwin and said, this proves that evolution does not come about in a natural way. This flower proves that only God can make these incredibly bizarre and tricky-looking creatures on the earth.
Crack down on. The police are cracking down on speeding drivers. Authorities plan to crack down on illegal construction activities.
Of course, it ended badly. The Army decided to crack down on those protests, and a lot of hundreds, perhaps thousands of people were killed in Beijing.
Literally, a short period of time has brought record reductions to illegal immigration. Record reductions. Down 61% since inauguration. General Kelly is doing a fantastic job. And we'll crack down on visa abuses that undermine the American worker, and we're doing that right now.
Lag behind. Our team is lagging behind the others in sales this month. If you don't study regularly, you'll lag behind in your classes.
In a study published last month and prominently featured in media outlets like the New York Times, Don showed that lower-income students lag behind their affluent peers when it comes to the most basic aspects of finding and understanding information online.
versus a company like Uber, whose success, really owes to the fact that they are breaking a lot of rules and like having regulation, lag behind a lot of that.
Take advantage of. He took advantage of the sale to buy a new laptop. Scammers often take advantage of vulnerable people.
As the soil dries after the rain, the small rain roots also start to dry and wither away, and the cactus awaits the next time it can take advantage of a shower.
But recent data from light-level geolocators show that terns actually travel more than twice as far each year, possibly to take advantage of prevailing winds.
Balance out. We need to balance out our expenses to save more money. The diet plan helps balance out your calorie intake.
These were birth control medications to try and balance out her moods. And we tried several of those, and they were not working. They were not helping.
And our federal minimum wage has not increased along with inflation. I think that's what we're trying to balance out here, how a living wage, which is different, here in New York City and in a state like Hawaii and San Francisco or Los Angeles, cost of living is much higher, and no one can live
one minimum wage for the country.
I think it's
Bring down. The government aims to bring down inflation by next year. New policies helped bring down crime rates in the city.
At a time when so many people were dying because medicines were priced out of reach, we were able to bring down the prices of medicines by up to 87%.
It's really important to let the prime rib come to room temperature, because if you put a cold piece of meat in a hot oven, it's going to bring down the temperature of the oven and therefore result in an uneven cook.
Pave the way. New technology paves the way for faster communication. Her research paved the way for groundbreaking discoveries.
The Great Depression gripped the country in the 1930s, and American workers needed a voice to demand fair treatment. Thanks to FDR's New Deal, the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 helped pave the way for better conditions for American workers by setting regulations for child labor, minimum wage, overtime pay, and more.
And so the force of my personality is such, and my persuasiveness, I'm going to create opportunities for change. I'm going to change that political landscape and pave the way for change. And it's quite appealing for us as observers